Hello, and welcome to the final episode of the Slope Masterclass. Slope-Intercept form review. So we know that M is the slope and B is the Y-Intercept, which is where the line crosses the Y-axis. And Slope-Intercept form is pretty awesome because it tells us what a line looks like without having to see it. So if M is positive, we know we have like a rising slope. If M is negative, we have a falling line. So it's also pretty cool because we can plug in an X value and get a Y value quickly. So let's practice identifying the slope and Y-intercept from equations in slope-intercept form. So here we have y equals 3x plus 5. We know that the slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So the m is what? Our slope, m is 3, and our b is what? The y-intercept. So b is 5. Try number 2 on your own. Okay, once again, we have y equals mx plus b. That's our slope-intercept form. So our m is -7, and our b is 6. Good. Okay, try this on your own. Same deal here, right? Which one is our m? -3. And our b? 4. That's good. Try this one. Our m is our 1024, right? No, that's our y-intercept. Remember, we're dealing with y equals mx plus b. So our m is our slope. Our m is 17, and our b is 1024. So sometimes a problem gives us the slope and the y-intercept, but we have to do the dirty work and plug them in the slope-intercept form. So once again, our slope-intercept form is y equals m, which is our slope, x plus b. That's our y-intercept. So we're given that m is 4 and b is 0. So, okay, y equals mx plus b. That's our slope-intercept form. Well, our m is 4, so it's going to be 4x plus 0. Okay. And that actually simplifies to y equals 4x. That's cool. And actually, let me focus on this more. This means when our b is 0, it's going to intersect the center of the graph, also called the origin. So right here, our line is going to intersect that origin. So we'll have this sort of thing, just like this. Okay, so try this one on your own. Okay, so our m is 3 and our b is 2. So y equals 3x plus 2. Okay, try this one. Okay, so see, when we have a slope of 0, is that a vertical line or a horizontal line? Good, so it's a horizontal line because when we have a slope of 0, we have that H shape, right? And that's our horizontal line. So we have as our answer y equals 0x plus 7, and that simplifies to y equals 7. Remember how I said that when we have a horizontal line, it's in the form y equals a number. So m equals 13 and b equals -13. Give that a shot. Okay, so y equals 13x minus 13. For this one, where m is 17 and b is 43, y equals 17x plus 43. And this last one, give it a shot. So our m is negative, but that's not going to change much. So we have y equals -3x plus 280. Oh, and one more. So we have m equals 13 and b equals 43, where we know y equals mx, y equals 13x minus 43. Okay, so notice how the slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Sometimes we got to solve for y, and we have to get the y by itself. So we have to convert from standard form, remember that, into slope-intercept form. or we have to go from point slope form to slope intercept form. Remember, slope intercept form is pretty awesome because it allows us to know what a graph looks like. If we have a positive m, we're going to have a rising line. A negative m gives us a falling line, and we can plug in an x value and get an y value really quickly. So we're going to solve for y and write the equation in slope-intercept form. So we're going to first split our equal sign, draw a line through our equal sign, and we're going to get the y by itself. That's our goal. So the opposite of addition, because this 4x is positive, we want to get rid of it, is subtraction. So we're going to subtract 4x from both sides to get negative y equals negative 4x plus 1, change colors, and we have negative y. We want just y. So do you agree the opposite of, or anything divided by itself is 1, right? So negative 1 divided by negative 1 is just 1. So negative y divided by negative 1 equals y. So let's divide both sides by negative 1 to get y equals negative 4x divided by negative 1. That's 4x. And 1 divided by negative 1 is negative 1. Give number 2 a shot. So first, we're going to draw a line through our sign. And we want the y by itself. So we have to get rid of this 16x. We do that by subtracting 16x from both sides because our 16x is positive. So minus 16x minus 16x. So negative 8y equals negative 16x minus 48. Now we have to divide each term by negative 8 because we want the y by itself. So negative 8, negative 8, negative 8. I'm not just going to divide this negative 16x by negative 8. We have to divide the negative 48 by negative 8 too. So when we do that, we get that we just have y on the left equals negative 16x divided by negative 8. That's just positive 2x. Negative 48 divided by negative 8 is positive 6. So that is our equation in slope-intercept form. Okay, let's do this together. So our first step is to draw a line through our sign. And we want only y. We don't want x on the left. So our x is positive. We're going to subtract x from both sides. So that leaves us with negative 3y is equal to negative x plus 6. Okay. And to get the y by itself, we have to divide by negative 3 because the opposite of multiplication is division. So divide by negative 3, negative 3, negative 3. That is y equals x over 3 because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. 6 divided by negative 3 is negative 2. You can verify that with your calculator. That's our equation. Okay, try this on your own. First step is to draw a line through your sign. And we want only y. We don't want x on this left side. So we're going to subtract 3x from both sides because the 3x is positive. The opposite of addition is subtraction. So that leaves us with negative 2y is equal to negative 3x minus 16. And we are now going to divide every term by negative 2 because we want the opposite. We want the y by itself. That leaves us with y is equal to 3/2 x because a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and negative 16 divided by negative 2 is positive 8. Okay, try this one. All right, so I drew my line. We want only y on the left, no x's. So our 6x is positive. We're going to subtract from both sides because the opposite of addition is subtraction. We have 5y on the left is equal to negative 6y minus 15. Now we have to divide every term by 5 because our 5 is being multiplied to our y, and the opposite of multiplication is division. So that leaves us with negative 6 over 5 x minus 3 because negative 15 divided by 5 is negative 3. So same thing here. we want our only y on the left, and we can do that by subtracting 13x from both sides. Once again, our 13x is positive, so we have to subtract to get rid of it. So 11y is equal to negative 13x. Let me change colors. 11y is equal to negative 13x. And notice that our y-intercept is 0, so we don't have to worry about that too much. Anyway, to get the y by itself, we have to divide by 11 on both sides. So y is equal to negative 13x over 11. So just a pop question, where will this line intersect the graph? At the center, right? So when we have a y-intercept of 0, as we do here, it's really plus 0, our line is going to intersect the origin or the center. So it's going to be that sort of thing. Okay, so for this example, we're going to draw a line through our sign. We want only y on this side, so we're going to subtract by 70x because it is positive, the 70x. So we have 7y is equal to negative 70x plus 490. Okay, and now our final step is to divide every term by 7 because we want the y by itself and 7 is being multiplied to the y. So that leaves us with negative 70x divided by 7, that's negative 10x, and 490 over 7 is 70 plus 70. Okay, so when a problem gives us a slope and a point, we have to plug the slope and the point into point-slope form. And then we solve for y. So we're going to put this equation in slope-intercept form afterwards. Just because it's solved for y doesn't necessarily mean it's in slope-intercept form, but we'll kind of see that with these examples. So we have our point is 1, 2, and slope is m. So remember, point-slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, so let's plug that in here. Y minus 2 is equal to m, which is 7, times x minus 1. Okay, so now we have to solve for y, but we have some parentheses, multiplication, action. No, it didn't go away. We have that right here. We got to take care of that. Then we'll worry about this negative 2 right here, that minus 2. So let's take care of that. Okay, so we're going to have the 7, or you know what? I'm going to rewrite it over here. I'm going to make some space. All right, erasing our iPad. Okay, so y minus 2 is equal to 7, x minus 1. Cool. All right, draw my line. Awesome. Okay, so our 7 says hi to x. We have a minus sign inside our parentheses, and our 7 says hi to 1. And that's equal to y minus 2. So let's simplify this. Y minus 2 is equal to, change color, 7x minus 7 times 1 is 7. So now we're going to take care of this negative 2. 2 is negative, opposite of negative is a positive, plus 2 both sides. And we can rewrite this, of course, as y minus 2 plus 2 is equal to 7x minus 7 plus 2, right? Because we have negative 7 minus plus 2. And minus 2, minus 2 plus 2, those are going to cancel out. And we have negative 7 plus 2, that's negative 5. You can see that with your calculator. So that leaves us with y is equal to 7x minus 5. Okay, try this one on your own. Okay, so our formula is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. This is x1, this is y1. So when we plug this point into this formula, we get y minus negative 1. Remember, when we have a negative number, we're just going to use our parentheses, equals negative 1, which is m, times x minus 3. Cool. All right, so once again, we have parentheses, multiplication, action. So we have really, okay, we'll handle this stuff in a second, but let's take care of that parentheses stuff. Okay, so negative 1 says hi to x. We have a minus sign inside of our parentheses, and negative 1 says hi to negative 1 says hi to 3. So, and of course, if you don't like this method, you can use the arrows method, whichever is more comfortable for you. But that is still equal to y minus negative 1. A negative minus a negative is a positive, so that's y plus 1. So that's, let's go ahead and simplify the stuff on the right to get y plus 1 is equal to negative 1 times x, that's negative x, minus parentheses, don't forget your parentheses because you don't want to make a simple mistake, negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. Okay, so that means that y plus 1 is equal to negative x plus 3. We don't want this plus 1 here. Opposite of plus 1 is minus 1. So we're going to subtract 1 from both sides to get y is equal to negative x plus 3 minus 1. And our final answer is y is equal to negative x. 3 minus 1 is 2. Okay, so number 3, give it a shot too. Okay, so remember our point slope form, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. We got something going on though. Our m is our slope is 0. So we're going to go ahead and plug this point in, but we're going to see something kind of cool. So we have y minus 1 is equal to 0 times x minus 3. This is going to disappear, and we're left with y minus 1 equals 0. Draw our line. We want the y by itself, so the opposite of minus 1 is plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. Y equals 1. What kind of line is this? Vertical? It's horizontal. When we have y equals a number, it's a horizontal line. The slope is 0 for horizontal lines. That was our little hint. So, okay, so for this one we have 0.35, and our slope is 5/3. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. I encourage you to just keep writing this formula so it's just like etched in your mind. So we have y minus 5 equals 5/3 times x minus 3. Okay, so we have some parentheses multiplication action to take care of, and we're going to draw our line so we can stay neat. So y minus 5 equals, different color for that, equal sign. Our 5/3 says hi to x. Minus sign inside. And our 5/3 says hi to our 3. Of course, you can use arrows, whichever works for you. So we're going to simplify this to have y minus 5, excuse me, 5/3 times x is the same thing as 5/3x minus 5/3 times 3. Don't forget your parentheses. That's the same thing as just 5. You can see that with your calculator. And that leaves us with y minus 5 is equal to 5 over 3 x minus 5. Cool. Okay, so we have to do one more step, which is, right, to get rid of this minus 5, we want the y by itself. So we're left with y. We're going to add 5 to both sides. And we're going to go to erase this stuff right here. It's not. Okay. So we're going to add 5 to both sides. To get y, these are going to, y minus 5 plus 5 is equal to 5 over 3 x minus 5 plus 5. Of course, this is going to cancel. Minus 5 plus 5 is 0. Minus 5 plus 5 is 0. So y is equal to 5 over 3. Once again, we have a y-intercept of 0. So our line is going to intersect what? Good. Our origin. That sort of situation. Okay. So once again, we have to use the point slope formula, right? Not quite. Our m is what? It's undefined, and that is for vertical lines, which are like this. Remember, our v is like downward shaping, so we have this sort of thing. So what do we do? Well, we can plot this point. So we have 2, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just making sure it's right. And since our m is undefined, we know it's a vertical line. It's going to look a little bit like this. Like this. So it is a line that's going to have arrows at the end to show it's going on forever and ever. But we're not going to be able to put this in slope-intercept form. Why? Because when we have a vertical line, it's always x equals a number, not y equals a number. So x equals what? Well, we see that we have a point given 2, 5, right? But we also have a point here at 2, 4. And at 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, negative 1. So no matter where we go on this line, it's going to be 2 something. Our x term is 2 forever. So 2 is the answer. x2 is our line. So that concludes the Slope Masterclass. And I do apologize I didn't have the x1, y1 for 3 and the other few questions. But, I really enjoyed this, and I hope you did too. And this will equip you to be a slope master. So thank you for watching.